Hey, my name is Nate, and I'm a 25-year-old burn survivor and amputee, and I'm learning how to walk for the third time. It's been a bit of a bumpy ride, from struggling to balance to taking my first independent steps again, but I'm sharing my journey of adapting to life with a new prosthetic limb. Join me as I figure it out one step at a time. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that montage, but please be kind. That was the first one I've ever done, and this is actually my first voiceover too. So essentially what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to kind of explain things as they're happening and give you a little bit more context to what you see. So right here I'm actually taking not my very first steps, but my first consistent steps, I would say. So this is day 2 or 3 of rehab. I'd already kind of gotten a little bit of balance work and like weight shifting in, so like transferring onto the prosthetic. That was a lot of work, honestly. Even before having this prosthetic, I couldn't really rely on my right leg due to my birth defect and stuff. It was a lot of pain due to the arthritis and stuff in my ankle, as well as like nerve pain from the fire in my skin. So it really was no fun at all. And as a result of that, I would basically just put like 75 to 80% of the weight onto my left side. It's a matter of trusting the prosthetic as well as just like those muscles not being very strong. So this is Jufa. He's super awesome. He's a really great guy. And he really helped me with the idea of weight shifting. So as I was walking, early on, it was like I would just kind of drag my whole leg in front of me with my hip. And as you can see here, I've gotten a bit better with the weight shifting idea. I'm using my crutches. This is a 2-point walking. I'm using them to kind of assist me as I go. And every other day I got to do moderate aerobic exercise, which was really nice for me after being stuck on a couch for so long.
Halfway there. Thanks, new step.
And this is what they call a skin check. It is super important just to make sure that you don't have any skin breakdown or bruising if you're really going hard. I've been very fortunate to avoid both of those, but a lot of people can end up running into those problems, especially if you're like diabetic or seniors. Anyone who has low circulation or higher probability of the skin breaking down. So what I'm looking for right here is to see if any of my skin is purple or if there are any blisters starting. And now we're wiping up the sweat. Again, just to reduce the friction to prevent skin breakdown, because last thing we would want is some sort of nasty infection or a bruise where I can't weight bear anymore. It ultimately boils down to like losing 1 day of progress versus potentially like a week or more. As long as your coloration, like the pigment in your skin, goes back to what it was beforehand, like within 30 seconds to a minute. My coloration was looking a little purple, but that's pretty normal with my scars and stuff. So everything's looking good and I'm ready to put my leg back on. All right, so this activity was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one. We took, I believe it was a 4-pound medicine ball, and Jufus setting up a super pull for me there for my balance, just in case. And he's basically just explaining that this is really good because it gives you a little bit of a squat down to catch the ball. And depending on the angle of the trampoline, it'll either come higher up or lower. And the lower it comes, the more you have to squat, of course. So he's raising it up here. It's going to come at me a little bit lower. So this is just me asking him how I should be throwing it. And of course, the whole time he's warning me that the ball comes back pretty quickly, so to throw it gently. But I still had a pretty hard time balancing when I was first catching it. This was honestly great exercise for me too. Again, just being pretty sedentary for the most part after the burns and then after the amputation. It feels great to get my heart rate up and get my body moving again. So now you can see Jufa's lowering the trampoline and he's warning me that the ball is going to come up higher this time. Just so you guys know too, the reason I'm doing the voiceover is because I wanted to take audio as well, and Jufa didn't mind, but it was mostly for the other patient's sake, and that's kind of why we have to move the camera around so much. We wanted to get the camera just on me, or at least as much as we could. I told him it'd be easier probably if we didn't use the audio altogether, just out of respect for the other patients that are here in the gym. Alright, time for another skin check. Making sure to use that mirror so we check every angle of the residual limb. No bruising, no skin breakdown, all good. So now Jufa's going to go get me another me pour because I did still have one really teeny tiny opening left on my scar from the original incision, pardon me. So we're going to slap that on just to make sure that hole doesn't get any bigger. Time to put our liner back on, and then we're going to put our sock on, or stocking, I guess, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to put that into the socket. I often have to kind of wiggle and then I can stand up. I don't think this is something every amputee has to do, especially if you're not someone who drives or is going to be driving. But the hospital brought this system in for stroke rehabilitation patients. I thought it was super cool because I initially decided that I would probably do like a crossover with my left foot. So I would take off my prosthetic leg and then I would just drive regular gas brake pedals with my left foot instead. But we figured before we jumped straight to the crossover, we would try driving with the prosthetic leg itself, which it's not recommended, but you can do it if it's safe and comfortable for you. Oh, you guys are going to love this. So I'm sitting at this red light, waiting for it to turn green. And then this guy rolls up out of nowhere and blasts through the red light. Like, who does he think he is? I learned very early on that this wasn't super comfortable for me, partially because of the type of prosthetic I have, and partially just because I didn't really enjoy not being able to feel the pedal with my foot. So my prosthetic is a vacuum seal, which means I have an inner liner that you guys saw earlier, and then there's an outer sleeve that I have to pull up over my leg. So those are both basically like big resistance bands that I'm fighting as I'm trying to push the gas. But yeah, this confirmed for me that I definitely want to drive with my left foot. So going upstairs, as I'm sure you can imagine, is a pretty important part of just day-to-day maneuvering. A lot of places aren't totally accessible, and my house specifically has like 14 steps or something to get up to the bedroom. So I am fortunate to have a stair lift, but doing these stairs was very important for me, just for my own independence, really. As you can see on this first set here, I really struggled. It was a lot harder than I thought it would be. For a few reasons, like the weight shifting that I mentioned earlier with walking was something I really struggled with on the stairs. I don't know if it was just the fact that I was higher up and I was nervous, or I didn't trust my prosthetic on the stair. I don't know. Either way, I really had to focus on shifting all of my weight onto my right side. The other reason it was so tough, especially going up the stairs, was bending my knee. So like I mentioned with the driving simulator, anytime I have to bend my leg, it's like I'm fighting two great big rubber bands. Plus there's all kinds of those stockings in between. So when I have the sleeve up, it's very difficult for me to bend my leg all the way. As you can see though, I made great progress, and I'm not even using my crutches anymore. Coming down a lot more smoothly. Now Jufa's demonstrating for me how I'm coming down the stairs versus how I should come down the stairs, and heavy emphasis on the weight shifting. So I'm basically keeping my right leg straight, and I'm just kind of limping onto my left side because it's stronger, and that's what I'm used to doing. So here I'm doing one last set, and 3 sets of these up and down counts as 1 flight of stairs. But by the end, I think I'm looking pretty good. Really focusing on just moving all my weight to that right side and getting a lot more confident with the prosthesis. So here you can actually see me mouthing weight shift, and then Jufa showing me with my hips how I should be pivoting. And that's the moment where it all clicked. Let me tell you, I am never taking stairs for granted again, because trying to go upstairs when you only have 1 foot, especially if the building isn't accessible, it is extremely difficult. This was honestly one of my favorite parts of rehab. So physiotherapy with Jufa was awesome, and it was a lot of like walking and balancing and standing, going upstairs. But with Abby in occupational therapy, it was a lot of like day-to-day skills, things that I would be doing at home that I need to be prepared for, like cooking and picking up my kids, not tripping over their toys, driving, all that good stuff. So Abby said that it was a pretty limited choice of what they had in the fridge, but with what they had, I could make anything I wanted. And I initially was going to make an omelet with like cheese inside. And then I realized they didn't have any cheese, so I just went with scrambled eggs and toast because it was easy and quick. That was the main thing, is my occupational therapy appointments were usually like a half hour, give or take. By the time I got in there, got my socks managed to the point that I could walk, and then started doing whatever we were doing, it would be really close to the end of my appointment. So here you can see me plating up my eggs, and the toast just came out of the toaster. I'm going to slap some margarine on that. So here it is, gourmet, top tier scrambled eggs and toast made by yours truly. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe.